Hello, football fans. It is the Week 14 Pick'ems episode. We have arrived. I'm Chris Billings, joined by my co-hosts Tony Parlay Reyes and Nicholas J. Kerr. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Doing all right. I'm feeling like a coach after a successful challenge, confident and ready to defy the odds.
Tony, how about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm
All
doing
right,
good.
this is why I'm back. The teacher is back here. Last week, despite being dead with COVID, I was 6-6-1. Nick was also 6-6-1, but Tony ended up winning the weekend at 8-4-1. Tony finally gets to 60% for the season standings. Congrats to him. Nick hits 50%. And I'm a cellar dweller at 48.9%, but I'm going to blame illness for that one. All right, let's head into it. Bye-week teams this week are the Arizona Cardinals and the Washington Commanders. Let's start out with games we just want to breeze through. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Battle for first place in the NFC South. Last time they met, Falcons beat the Bucs 16-13, barely squeaked by. We'll start with you, Tony. What do you got on this?
It's an ugly divisional match, man. The Falcons barely could get any offense going against the Jets last weekend. Tampa Bay, it's a pretty similar boat, but I got more confidence in Tampa Bay in squeaking this one out. They're like the same team. They're like the same middling team. I don't know. I don't buy Atlanta at home. I think Tampa Bay wins this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and take Tampa Bay.
Almost sided with you on this one. I thought Tampa Bay would come back for revenge. Then I remembered in that game, I believe Bijan Robinson had 3 yards, 1 attempt. So I think if they utilize him more than 1 attempt, they can do some good things and they can beat the Buccaneers. Also home field advantage. Also that 2.5. I think Falcons can beat them by a field goal. So that leaves us with Nick, who has a flipping it.
Yeah, Chris. I mean, this game just feels like a battle of two teams, and the winner, they're just gonna get destroyed in the first round of the playoffs. So with that, I'm just gonna flip it on this one. Tails, away team, I'm taking Bucs.
All right. That leaves me on the lonely island for that one. Moving forward, we have the Lions at the Bears. Rematch of Week 11. Lions won 31-26. Despite Jared Goff having 3 interceptions in that game. Nick, we're going to kick it back to you on this one. Talk to us about Lions at Bears. Detroit
Chris,
favored by 3.5, by the way.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Lions here. And a simple stack to track for this. Detroit's 7-1 when it has 1 turnover or less. So I think if Jared Goff can hold on to the football, the Lions should cruise here.
All right. Nick, I'm in agreement with you. I'm taking the Lions. I think that they're going to play a lot more confidently than they did in that first game. Although they almost gave one up to the Saints last week, so you never know with this team. But no, Lions, their best record since I think like 1965, which coincidentally, Detroit has the lowest homicide rate since the 60s. I don't know if those two things are they necessarily correlate together. You take with that information what you will. But yeah, give me the Lions in this one. So that leaves us with Tony. Oh no, he's on the lonely island picking the Bears. Tell us why you're picking the Bears.
Jared Goff, outdoors, cold weather, wind. Not the strongest arm. Gonna have problem moving the ball against that Bears defense, and that weather is gonna come into play. Bears gonna hammer the run. Justin Fields and that mobility. He's still like auditioning to see if he could be a starting quarterback in this league, but given that list of backup quarterbacks that we talked about, I mean, he should be just based on that list, but I think the Bears easily cover. 3.5 points is too much. They got the hook. They're at home. I love the Bears in this one.
All right, you can have the Bears. Next up, we have the Jags at the Browns. The notable thing about this is that you have CJ Beathard going against Joe Flacco. As we talked about in our Thursday Night Football episode, we're down to some bottom-the-barrel QBs right now, and this is one of those games. So, we will start with Nick again on this one. Talk to us about Browns, Jags.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Browns in this one because the Jags they don't play well in cold weather. Add in missing Trevor Lawrence. The Jags since the start of the 2018 season are 1-12 in games that the temperature is 45 or below. That one win was against the Jets in 2022, so can you really count that? So with Trevor Lawrence missing the game plus the Jags in cold weather, I'm gonna take the Browns in this.
I'm in agreement with you, Nick. I'm also taking the Browns. Honestly, Trevor Lawrence and that offense struggled against that Bengals defense. So I think with CJ Beathard behind the center, they're going to struggle pretty mightily with the Browns defense. And I think Myles Garrett is still going to be active for this game. But yeah, give me the Browns in this one. That leaves us with Tony. Who do you have, Jags or Browns?
Family play, man. I'm in agreement with you guys. Browns. I think Nick hit it right there on the head. That weather is going to be too big of a factor for the Jags. And then, like you said, backup quarterback Beathard. I don't like that against that Browns defense. Browns have lost 2 straight. They're going to go all out in this game to stay in that playoff race. They're too well coached by Stefanski, and Myles Garrett's going to go ahead and play. You know that dude's a warrior. So give me the Browns winning this game by a field goal at home.
All right. Cue Vin Diesel.
I don't have friends.
All right, next up we have Panthers at Saints. Panthers, first team eliminated from the playoffs this season. And we have the Saints that just, speaking of middling teams right now, Saints, though, still favored by 5.5 points at home. We'll start with Nick on this one.
Yeah, this is just another bad matchup of NFC South teams. There's really not much to go on. The biggest thing is it's going to be a battle of former Heisman Trophy winners. I think after the game, there might be a little talk between Jameis Winston and Bryce Young about FSU Alabama, but I think FSU gets their revenge in this game, and the Saints come out on top.
All right, Tony.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. I'm picking the Saints as well. They're at home. They're less bad than the Panthers. 5.5 points does kind of seem like a lot, but I feel like they're probably going to win by about a touchdown. I could see them making some plays late, and I just don't see the Panthers being able to keep up and score on that Saints defense, which has been like the most consistent unit on their team. So I'll take the Saints in the 5.5.
All right, I'm on a lonely island, boys. I'm taking Carolina. I've taken them a lot this year. It's kind of burned me. I'll take them again just because I don't think the Saints can cover. Do you think Saints win this game? But yes, 5.5 points just seems like a little too much credit to that Saints team at the moment. So, moving forward, we have Texans at Jets. Zach Wilson starts apprehensively. Houston's favored by 5.5 points in this one. Tony, we'll start with you.
Is this rigged? Is this like game rigged? Why is this spread only 5.5 points? Is Zach Wilson really like that much of an upgrade over the other quarterbacks like Simeon? And man, the Texans are a solid team. They're trying to make the playoffs. They seem like they're competent. They got everything together. CJ Stroud is composed and poised. I see like they're easily going to win this game, and they should easily win this by more than a touchdown. So I don't understand this 5.5 point spread. Something seems funky with me, but I'm taking the Texans.
Right, Nick?
Yeah, I'm with you, Tony. Just something doesn't seem right because the Texans have scored 21 plus points in the last 5 straight games, so I don't think they're going to have a problem winning this game against the lowly Jets because the Jets, since week 7 after their bye, have been averaging under 10 points a game. So a team averaging over 21, team averaging under 10, I think they definitely cover that 5.5 point spread.
All right. I also have Houston in this one as well. Despite losing Tank Dell last week against the Broncos, they were still able to just chop that pretty decent Broncos defense up. See them doing the same thing with the Jets. I'd say the biggest thing to look for in this game, for the love of God, CJ Stroud, do not injure yourself at the Meadowlands. All right. Our final speed through game here. We have Vikings at Raiders. Another just QB battle for the ages. Josh Dobbs versus Aiden O'Connell. Minnesota's favored 2.5 points despite being on the road. Nick, we'll start with you on this one.
I'm going to take the Raiders in this game because I think they were still playing well with the interim coach. And I think this game's going to be a battle of who has less turnovers. Because O'Connell, he's had just one interception and 3 home starts. Josh Dobbs has 5 interceptions the last 2 weeks. So, actually, in the last 2 Minnesota losses. So I think whoever protects the football is going to do it, and because of that, I'm just going to go with the home team.
All right. I'm also going with the Raiders on this one. I have not liked what I've seen out of that Vikings offense, which Justin Jefferson is going to start this game, correct? So
I think so, yeah.
At least that's for the Vikings. I still don't see them. I think that if anything, that Vegas defense that I've been hyping all season is going to get the best of the Vikings. They seem to really struggle against the pass rush with Dobbs at QB. So, yep, give me Vegas. That leaves us with Tony, who, oh no, back on the lonely island. Tell us why you're taking the Pasternaut and the Vikings.
Because I don't believe in Antonio Pierce. He's not a good coach. I'm being consistent with this. The Vikings have had a bye week. Kevin O'Connell, that's his name, is going to beat Aiden O'Connell. That's right. This game is the battle of the O'Connells. The Vikings are going to go ahead and win this game. Not worried about the turnovers from the Pasternaut. They have had more time to get coalesced there and practice and get everything familiar. The Raiders aren't a good team. Antonio Pierce, not a good coach. Going up against a good coach. Give me the Vikings.
All right. That was our appetizer games. So let's move forward into the next course of games. Right, next course of games, we got the Colts at the Bengals. Another QB barn burner. Gardner Minshew versus Jake Browning. Is Joe Burrow a system quarterback? Is Gardner Minshew the best QB in the AFC South? I don't know. Let's find out. We'll start with Nick on this one.
Chris, I think I'm going to take the Bengals in this. I know the Colts have pushed their way into the AFC playoff picture with 4 straight wins, including 3 on the road with Gardner Minshew leading the way. Cincinnati, Browning did look good filling in for Joe Burrow, so maybe it is, because Cincinnati's going to have to adjust to life for the rest of the season without Joe Burrow. And 3 of their losses at home have come by a combined total of 12 points. I don't know. It just feels like a trap game for the Colts that everything's been going so well. So I'm going to take the Bengals here at home.
Yep. Colts favored by 0.5 point, despite being on the road in this one. But I'm also going to Cincy. I just loved so much what I saw in that Monday Night Football game. Even with Trevor Lawrence, like, that Bengals team was dominating the Jags in my estimation. So, also, to use a big brother term that only about 5 people are going to understand, Tony will understand it though. Colts, they've been a floater this season. I don't know how they've gotten to this point, but they're here. Shane Steichen, I credit to him, and then Tony's always hyping Gardner Minshew. Credit to him, but I don't see how the Colts can continue to do this. And like I said, I've loved what I've seen out of the Bengals the last couple of weeks behind Jake Browning. So yeah, give me the kitty cats on this one. Tony, Lonely Island with his Gardner Minshew mustache. He's been having to rock because of Gardner Minshew and the Colts and their success. Tell us why you're picking the Colts at 0.5 point.
This is a tough one, man. Both these teams are coming off overtime wins. I was really surprised the Bengals pulled that one out on Monday night. It is going to be a short week for the Bengals. For the Colts, though, that team just believed, man. Shane Steichen has got that team believing. Gardner Minshew isn't the best. He makes some reckless throws, but they overcome all of these throws and turnovers. And I feel like they're going to steal one more on the road. They're going to steal one more on the road, and that's going to be the peak. I think this Browning thing is I think this one is kind of at its peak once he beat the Jags on Monday night. He looked way too good. That definitely is going to come back down to earth. So give me the Colts in this one. They go ahead and win a close one.
One of these teams has to come back down to earth. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't know how the Colts can do it, but this game does have playoff implications. Colts sitting at 7-5. They're 6th seed right now in the AFC. And then Bengals, they're 6-6. I mean, they may be 11th, but they can easily, starting with this game, work their way back into the playoff hunt. So, surprisingly, a game that I didn't think was going to have playoff implications. Like I said, Gardner Minshew, Jake Browning, but here we are. Next up, game that Nick wanted to talk to, and I think I know why. We have the Rams at the Ravens. Ravens currently tied with the Dolphins atop the AFC standings. So I'm assuming that Nick wants the Ravens to lose this one. So let's check with him. Talk to us about the Ravens and the Rams. Baltimore favored by 7.5.
Yeah, Chris, I want the Ravens to lose. I just don't think it's going to happen. So I'm taking the Ravens here because even at first glance, this spread seems a little high. Even for the Ravens that's playing really well, they're at home. Because the reason why it's surprising is because the Rams have actually been playing pretty well. Well, at least on offense they have. At 6-6, they're still very much alive. Add in a dash of desperation. Matthew Stafford playing well, back at full capacity. It just seems like an upset, but it's really just hard to buy stock in this Rams team because of their defense. Because anytime they go up against a good opponent, they just seem to get smoked. So this Ravens offense, I believe, is just too good, and I think they do cover at home.
All right. Nick, I'm in agreement with you. I'm also taking the Ravens, although I will say this is another game of playoff implications, weirdly. Rams are the 8th seed in the NFC currently at 6-6, so if they were to magically pull off a win in this game, they'd be right in the playoff hunt as well. But the differentiating thing, I think, here for me is the Rams' biggest success currently is their receiving core, and they're going up against one of, if not the best secondary in the NFL right now with the Ravens. I think that's probably why you see that spread at 7.5. So yeah, I'm also taking the Ravens in this game. Tony, that leaves with you. Hey, family play. Tell us why you're picking the Ravens.
Man, this is a horrible spot for the Rams. We got so many things going against them. We talk about all the time. West Coast team traveling east. Ravens coming off of a bye. Man, the weather change in Baltimore as well. That's a finesse team for the Rams. Man, this has all the makings of like when the Lions visited Baltimore, or when the Seahawks visited Baltimore, and they just got boat raced. Like, they are just not ready for this. That Ravens defense will be swarming. You can make that spread 10.5, and I would still take the Ravens. Like, they are going to go ahead and swarm that team. Like, the Rams are coming off of a tough win against the Browns last week, while the Ravens were on a bye, getting all their players rested, and even extended bye because I think they came off a Thursday night game because of the Joe Burrow injury. So they've had so much time to rest, recover, figure out everything. I think the Ravens run away with this one.
think Tony may be on to something here. The Ravens, this is a game that you're basically playing for home field advantage throughout in the AFC. And you can't lose this game to the Rams, plain and simple, when you're competing for a number 1 seed. And so they do. They just got to come out and take care of business. And so that's a family play. Vin Diesel.
I don't have friends.
All right,
Family.
last game of this course. Broncos at Chargers, a divisional battle. Both teams surprisingly still in the playoff hunt. Chargers, despite being 5-7, they're still kind of in the hunt. They could somehow battle back. Broncos at 6-6 among just a plethora of teams in the AFC and NFC that are at 6-6 currently. But this game's in LA. Chargers favored by 2.5 points. Everyone's freezing up on my screen. I don't know why.
Talking about the Chargers, and suddenly their AI fans are hacking our freaking show, and now we're freezing up as soon as we talk about their game. Okay, I see what's going on, Chargers.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It looks like the Chargers have hacked the show. I don't know how much anybody got of that, but yes. Playing in LA, Chargers favored by 2.5 points. Chargers still in the playoff hunt. Broncos still in the playoff hunt. This game has some implications. Tony, we'll start with you at this. Let's hope AI doesn't get you.
Dude, AI's hacking our show. I'm trying to figure out how the Chargers are favored in this game. Did AI hack the sports books? Like, if you pick the Chargers or you bet on the Chargers, you're freaking stupid. You know this is going to be a close game. Sean Payton and that Broncos team has lived in close games all season. That's what they do, is keep those games close and make plays late. Like, the Chargers are going to win a late game in this? A close game late? Like, you're crazy dumb if you pick the Chargers. No, Broncos winning this game. Have no idea why the Chargers are favored. Give me the Broncos in them. Hammer the Broncos in this one.
Nick, talk to us about Chargers and Broncos.
I mean, I'm right there with you, Tony, with all the points you just make. You add in there, since beating the Jets in week 9, the Chargers are lost three out of 4. Their one win was against the Patriots, that 6-0 win last week. So I'm completely with you. The Broncos have been playing better. They had their win streak snapped, but I think they start a new one this week.
Yep. Broncos had their win streak snapped. Houston seemingly was dominating in that game, and yet the Broncos still had a chance to win it. They were on the 8-yard line. While just like I've said this season, some Tim Tebow-esque moments, and we all know, watching Tim Tebow, watching the Broncos, that the Chargers are probably most snake-bitten by all of that. Justin Herbert only has a 3-3 record against the Broncos. Yes, he did win his last game. We split last year, split the year before that, split the year before that. So, I don't know. I could see the Chargers winning this, but no, they've struggled all year. I think that Broncos defense is going to come in and feast on that, and they're going to be able to score more than 6 points in this game as well. So yes, give me the Broncos. All right. That looks like that's a family play, everyone. You Vin Diesel. Okay, let's get into our main course of the Saturday games. That coming up. All right, let's get into our main course games here, our featured games. We have the Seahawks at the Niners first up. Divisional battle. San Francisco favored by 10.5 points at home. Tony, let's start with you. Talk to us about Seahawks at Niners. Niners fresh off a butt kicking of the Eagles.
They are, man, and it sucks to pick against this Niners team. They are terrifying. Everything is clicking for them. It doesn't seem like anyone can hang with them or compete with them. But I think they're due for a natural letdown after that huge blowout win against the Eagles that they were waiting for. Purdy was able to go ahead and show the difference he would have made. I think there was a lot of revenge on their minds, even though they tried to say that there wasn't and that this was like any other game. 10.5 points feels like far too many. I watched that Seahawks-Cowboys game. Geno Smith and those receivers, they seem like they have a little bit of an offensive rhythm built up now. I think the Seahawks, they keep it a lot closer. They need this for the playoffs. They're in that 6-6 window like you were talking about with the Rams, and it's a division matchup as well. I think the Seahawks are able to keep it within 10.5.
Tony, I am in agreement with you. I'm taking the Seahawks. I do believe in just emotional come downs, and that was an emotional win for the Niners last week. I mean, had to travel to Philly, just absolutely kicked their ass there. And then they were wearing the black suits and stuff. Like they came prepped. Like they circled that game in the season, despite saying like, yeah, it was just another game. No, it wasn't. Like they wanted that one and they got it. And now they're having to travel back home. Everyone's crowning them as the best team in football right now. I'm sure they're hearing all that noise, and yeah, like the expectations are you're going to come and you're going to beat Geno Smith and the Seahawks, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than 10.5. Do you think the Niners still win? But I think they are going to have a bit of emotional letdown this week, and the Seahawks, they're still fighting for stuff as well. And Pete Carroll, like, he's a good coach, and that team's going to be well coached. And guess what? For the Seahawks, this game's probably circled on their calendar as well. So they're going to come out prepped for this, but still see them losing. But Niners going to come back down to reality like they have a couple times this year already. So that leaves us with Nick on the Lonely Island. Tell us why you're picking the Niners to cover 10.5 points.
I mean, I agree with a lot of the points you guys were making, because heading into Week 11, the Seahawks were 6-3 and looked like they were going to be a shoo-in for the playoffs. However, they've lost 3 straight, and it's not going to get any easier this week with the 49ers. They're basically stuck in a must-win game, and they're facing a team they can't beat. Including the playoffs, they've lost the last 4 straight, and in those 4 games, the Seahawks have been outscored by an average 30-14. And they've also, on top of that, they've been outgained by basically double. It's 490 to 260. And a big reason for that is Christian McCaffrey, because he's averaging 165 scrimmage yards, which is the 3rd most against any single opponent in NFL history. Their past 5 games, the Seahawks have allowed an average of 30 points. So I think all those things are a recipe for the Niners to cover this 10.5.
All right. Some good points there, Nick. All right. Final game Saturday. We got the Bills at Chiefs. This is always just a good game, and we actually have QBs playing in this one. Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. So I think that also adds to the spectacle. Chiefs favored by 2.5 points at home. Tony, we'll kick it to you on this one.
Oh, man, this is a tough one, man. I had to pick the Bills. Bills, even though the Chiefs are in Arrowhead, I'm taking the Bills because they're in that desperation mode. They've had a bye, and I was kind of saying this like about a month ago. Like I felt like the Chiefs and Eagles were going to hit a wall soon, that they had reached their peak, that it was just too difficult to maintain that status atop the league that they had maintained. And it seems like in the last couple of weeks, we've seen both of those teams kind of take those steps back. Chiefs definitely don't look the same, and I think the Eagles don't either. I think the Bills win this game outright. The Bills need this game a lot more than the Chiefs, and I don't know what's wrong with the Chiefs. A lot smarter people than me work there, and they can't figure out the offense. It almost seems like they're falling into that like Belichickian trap of not being able to replace wide receivers. And so like Patrick Mahomes' wide receiver core is just not good, and it just never comes through for him, and it doesn't seem like they're able to overcome that despite the Kelsey connection and despite how good their defense has been. But I like the Bills in this one, man. Give me the Bills to pull this upset.
Nick?
Tony, I'm right there with you. I'm going to take the Bills in this, and it's because a lot of the points you just made, because without Mahomes having that elite receiving core behind Travis Kelsey, he's just looking mortal. Josh Allen and the Bills, he's doing everything he can to win these games, because in their 6 losses, they're all by 6 points or less. So it's sort of like with me betting. I'm getting close. I may get there. I think this might be the game that they do. I think that this game's going to be a shootout. It's going to come down whoever has possession last, and I think the Bills are going to try to make up for that 13 seconds. So for that, I'm going to take the Bills in this.
All right. Looks like I'm on a lonely island, gentlemen. I am taking the Chiefs. I think this is the first year in Patrick Mahomes' career that you can say that his defense for the Chiefs is better than the offense. And I think that's honestly, that's where Josh Allen has struggled, is when he's gone up against some really good defenses. And also on the flip side of things, the Bills defense, they have no pass rush to go after Patrick Mahomes. So I think he's going to have a lot of time in the pocket, and he's going to be able to actually find receivers in this game. And so, yeah, I see the Chiefs easily winning by a field goal or more in this one. The Bills, I think they were kind of wrote their demise a couple weeks ago, and this is just going to be one of the final nails in the coffin for the Bills. And then the Chiefs will show people that, hey, there's still going to be a threat in the AFC that you need to watch out for. So, yeah, give me Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs easily in this game. Okay, well, that's it for our Saturday games. We will have our, why do I keep saying Saturday games? Sunday games. Sunday games, god damn it. Yes, it's going to be our Sunday games that we just wrapped up here. This episode's coming out on a Saturday, but we'll be back on Sunday for Sunday Night Football. That's not confusing at all, is it? Fuck. All right, everyone, enjoy some football. I'm Chris Billings. That's Tony Parlay Reyes, Nicholas J. Kerr. Everyone, enjoy some football.
Thanks for watching the Sports Budz. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.